Hey there, my name is Alex. I am the Mont, and this is a review of Koei's new game, Atelier Ryza, which I played on PC via Steam. Disclaimer time, Koei sent me a review copy of the game. As it happens, I've never played any of the series before, and it isn't really my kind of thing, but sometimes it's good to try something new, and perhaps I can offer a useful perspective on the game in case you're curious about picking it up. Incidentally, Atelier Ryza is out November 1st, and you can pick it up on Steam, Switch, or PS4. Now, before talking about the game proper, let's talk about how it runs, PC options and all that. First of all, Atelier Ryza has no English dub, so you'll be playing the game in Japanese with subtitles. But I doubt the intended audience will have much of a problem with that. A larger problem, however, is the fact that there's virtually no PC options to tweak graphics or the like. Only INI files and fan mods will be there for that, unless they patch it, which, well. When you launch the game, you can open a config tool which allows you to change some keybinds and the game's resolution. That's it. That's all of your options. And the resolution only goes up to 1080p, which is disappointing. I can do without a whole suite of graphical settings, although they really should have some. But capping resolution at 1080p? Come on. I played the game in a window at 1080p, then used the borderless gaming program to make it borderless full screen. Of course, this did mean that it was being stretched from 1080p to 1440p, which isn't ideal, but it was the only way I could get any good recordings for this game without it being all weird and cropped. Not the most promising start then for a PC game, but if you're playing at 1080p, you won't notice it. Likewise, if you're on PS4 or Switch, you'll be at, well, I'm assuming 1080p on PS4 and something like 720 on Switch. Lack of PC customization options isn't a huge issue for me though. As for how the game runs, well, it has fast loading times on PC, which is nice. I didn't even have it on my SSD. And I didn't experience any crashes or frame rate problems for the most part. I did find the default camera angle weirdly close to the character, but after an embarrassingly long amount of time, like 4 hours, I cleverly realised you can actually use the shoulder buttons to move the camera in and out. So how about the game itself? Well, Atelier Ryza is the story of Ryza and her two friends, who grew up on a small island and thirst for adventure on the mainland. That's about it for the premise. Very farm boy sets out on adventure. There's nothing wrong with that, and I guess it's more of a farm girl than a boy. In this case, instead of a Gandalf or an Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have an alchemist, who also isn't an old man because, you know, it's anime. And this alchemist introduces Ryza to the art of alchemy, surprisingly, which I understand plays a central role in the series as a whole. Gameplay-wise, this is a JRPG with a lot of gathering. You'll walk around small maps that connect to each other, fighting enemies and picking up resources such as stones, fruit, herbs and the like. These will then be used in alchemy, wherein you can craft new items of certain qualities to help you out. Potions, tools, weapons, medicine, armour, and so on and so forth. The crafting system is quite robust and freeform in the sense that it's not like you need these 3 items to make this item. It's more like you need a flower, you need some ore, then you can use anything that fits that category, and then you can add extra things on to improve the quality or add traits to it. You get the idea. Now personally, I'm not a huge fan of crafting systems in games because I'm lazy and I like just either buying equipment or better yet, punching the dragon until he explodes and drops a big sword for me to use. But the system in place here is quite a nice one with some depth to it, and it can also be somewhat automated. You can choose to automatically throw in materials, so you can make the game largely do it for you, and you can even choose between it choosing low or high quality materials. Combat, meanwhile, is a sort of turn-based system wherein your normal attacks generate ability points or AP, which you can spend on using special attacks, such as, you know, magic spells and things. Alternatively, if you build up enough AP, you can spend it all to level up your tactics, which allows you to do multiple normal attacks in a row. There's also standard things like elemental weaknesses, debuffs, and a system where damaging an enemy will eventually stun them once you've drained their meter, allowing you to delay their turns. If you've played any JRPG, you'll probably have a rough idea of what to expect here. There's no real mechanical skill involved when it comes to, you know, dodging or timing, and it comes down more to about you building your character's strength up with items and skills and planning things out. Consumables such as bombs can be equipped to your character's core crystal, meaning instead of just using a bomb and expending it, if it's equipped to a crystal, you can use it indefinitely. Instead of using the item, it will drain the crystal, which can be replenished by resting, or you can charge it with items, which won't consume the item, but it will render it unusable until you return to Ryza's home. So the combat is enjoyable enough if you're into JRPGs with turn-based combat. Nothing about it is hard to understand or convoluted, which is nice, and the game has a few difficulty options too. The game's graphics are pretty enough, although you can tell it's somewhat of a budget game as presentation cuts a lot of corners. Characters rather awkwardly shift in and out of conversations and transitions from one animation to another. This isn't Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously. This isn't a game they worked on for 8 years with a huge budget so they can animation blend everything perfectly. Likewise, facial animation. It's an anime game, so you'll just get standard anime expressions that snap from one to the other. But I don't think anyone was, again, going to expect LA Noire from a game like this. Most dialogue is voiced in the game, apart from minor conversations, such as when picking up side quests for NPCs, which usually involves delivering an item, whether it's one you crafted, found in the wild, or whatever. In general, Atelier Ryza feels like a relaxed, casual sort of experience in a rather light-hearted world with carefree characters. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes people just want a casual adventure. No doubt the stakes will rise as you get further into the game and towards the end game, but this isn't a Code Vein, which I think works to the game's credit. It's a lot easier to take these over-the-top anime designs, well, if not seriously, then not having them break your immersion, when the world is a lot more light-hearted. So if you're looking for a light-hearted JRPG, check it out. And if you have any questions or feedback, do leave them down below in the comments. And until next time, you guys take care and thank you so much for watching. Ciao.
この日のために用意されたような場所よ。いいから早く。